All right, today we are diving into a truly fantastic book, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. We're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden forces that are secretly shaping your decisions pretty much every single day in ways you probably don't even realize.
So let me just start by asking you a question. When you make a choice, doesn't matter if it's what coffee to buy or what career path to take, do you think you're being logical? Rational? I mean, most of us would say, yeah, of course. But what if I told you that's not really the whole story?
You see, the whole big idea of this book is that we aren't these perfectly rational beings we imagine ourselves to be. But here's the really cool part. Our irrationality isn't just random chaos. Nope, it's systematic and it's predictable. And once you understand the patterns, you can start to see why you make the choices you do.
Okay, so let's get into the first hidden force that trips us up all the time: relativity. This idea explains that we almost never choose things in a vacuum. Our brains are just hardwired to make comparisons, constantly.
This basically means that the context of a choice is everything. We figure out how much something is worth, a product, a salary, you name it, by putting it right next to something else. And I've got a brilliant example of how this works.
So imagine you're looking at this ad for The Economist. You've got two choices: an internet-only subscription for $59 or a print and web subscription for $125.
Just take a second. Which one seems like the better deal? It's a little tough to compare, right? One is way cheaper, but the other gives you more for, well, more than double the price. It's not an obvious choice.
But now, watch this. A third option gets introduced: a print-only subscription, also for $125. All of a sudden, the decision is incredibly easy, isn't it? I mean, who in their right mind would pick the print-only option when you can get both print and web for the exact same price? And that, right there, is the whole trick. That print-only option is what Ariely calls a decoy. It was never designed to be chosen. Its one and only job is to make the print and web combo look like an absolutely fantastic deal. By comparing the $225 options, our brain instantly flags the combo as the winner, and suddenly we're much more likely to buy it. It's a classic marketing move.
But listen, this relativity trap goes so much deeper than just magazine subscriptions. Think about your job. Research shows that people are often less concerned with how much they make in absolute terms and way more concerned with how their salary stacks up against their coworkers. And this constant comparison, which, by the way, social media just pours gasoline on, is a huge driver of envy and unhappiness today.
Okay, let's move on to the next big concept: the power of anchors. This explains how the very first price we see for something can get lodged in our mind and then go on to influence what we're willing to pay for years to come. The main point here is that once we get a price in our head for something, that first number, the anchor, becomes our reference point. It's the standard we use to judge all future prices, whether that first number was logical or not.
A perfect story of this in action is the Tahitian black pearl. I mean, back in the 70s, these things were pretty much considered worthless. But then, this brilliant marketer, Salvador Assail, had an amazing idea. He decided to anchor their value not to other pearls, but to the most expensive gems in the world. He got them into the window of a super high-end jeweler in New York City with a ridiculously high price tag. And just like that, black pearls became the symbol of ultimate luxury, all because of that initial anchor.
Now, that's a great story, but it was a very deliberate marketing plan. So you have to wonder, does this anchoring thing still work if the initial number is completely random? Like if it has absolutely nothing to do with the item? Well, Ariely put this to the test at MIT. He had students write down the last two digits of their social security number. Then, right after, he asked them to bid on things like a bottle of wine or a cordless keyboard. Now remember, that social security number is a totally random anchor.
The results were just mind-blowing. Students who had high social security numbers, let's say ending in 80 or 90, consistently bid way, way more for the exact same items than students with low numbers. That completely random number became their internal anchor for what those items were worth.
Ariely has a name for this: arbitrary coherence. The initial price is arbitrary. It could be anything, even a social security number. But once that anchor is set in our minds, our future decisions become coherent with it. We base what we're willing to pay on that first random starting point.
So, okay, we know we're getting influenced by these comparisons and anchored by random numbers. The big question is, what on earth can we do about it? How do we break free from these patterns and actually make smarter, more rational choices?
Well, the answer really lies in this great quote from Ariely himself. The fact that our irrationality is predictable, that's actually great news, because if we can predict the pattern, we can start to build a defense against it.
Honestly, the single most powerful tool you have is just awareness. Think of it like building a little mental firewall. Simply knowing that these forces are out there, the decoy options are trying to manipulate you, that first prices are just anchors, that is the huge first step toward protecting yourself. So here are a few practical things you can start doing. When you're making a choice, actively question the options in front of you. Ask yourself, wait a minute, is one of these just here to make another one look better? When you see a price, especially the first one for a new product, just remind yourself that might be a completely arbitrary anchor. Try to zoom out. Instead of just comparing two TVs in a store, think about what else you could do with that money. And finally, go back and take a look at your own habits. That daily $5 coffee? Did you start buying it based on a rational choice, or was it based on an anchor that was set years ago?
Look, understanding our predictable irrationality doesn't mean we're flawed. It just means we're human. And by being aware of these hidden forces, we can start to take back control. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know, what's the first decision you're going to look at with a fresh, more critical eye?